Good morning. Sorry, y'all, I'm a little late this morning. some technical, some technical issues here. Good morning, Roz. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning. Good morning, Christine. Guys, yeah. Ladies, I am tired. Still tired. I'm still in Texas time zone some kind of way, trying to get my bearings back on the East Coast. But it's good to be back on the scope this morning. Yes, I missed you all. I missed having my chats, my Monday morning chats with you. With you all, it seems like it's been more than a week, but it's only actually been a week since we had our conversation. But I'm definitely glad to be back on. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Dr. Renee. Good morning. Yes, Renee. Yeah, yes, Roz. Yes, I was in Arlington this time. I think that's a little bit further from where you are, but yeah. So thanks so much for the welcomes back. I definitely missed you all. I don't think this scope is going to be too long this morning, but definitely share with your followers this morning, this Monday morning leadership lift. Good morning. So I so for those of you who do not know, maybe joining for the first time, my name is Marquissa Williams. I am the CEO and founder of Elevate Leadership Enterprises. I want to say all things leadership. My passion is to empower leaders to be the best that they could be, to help to build teams, to just provide resources so that we could be better as leaders and more effective leaders to make I want to say an impact in the spaces that we are in. So again, welcome. Marquissa Williams, CEO and founder of Elevate Leadership Enterprises. Again, definitely share with your followers these leadership lifts. We will meet every Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for the hearts already. Thank you so much. So last month was really, Q&A. I wanted to hear what was on your mind, and we talked about a few subjects on last month that were really good questions. And I wanted to just recap on what they were since we missed a week. So, sometimes our memories are very short. So I just wanted to bring us back to what we discussed, to remind us about what we discussed, and then talk about briefly a new topic for today, and then I will share what we'll talk about on next week as well, and going throughout the month of May. So the first question that was posed for the month of April was, what do you do when you're just exhausted as a leader and you're just wiped out, you're burnt out, and how do you get your passion back? So short answer to that is, when we find ourselves in those places, the good thing is we want to acknowledge that we are exhausted, we're tired. That's the start. And then when we find ourselves in these places, we want to just really sit down, take some time, be intentional about sitting down somewhere, off to a quiet space, library, Starbucks, in your home, a quiet space in your home, whatever that is, and just reflect. Why am I tired? Am I saying yes to too many things? Am I just have too many eggs in one basket at this time or this season in my life? Do I need to have to reprioritize some things? Do I actually still like what I do? Am I still in love with how I'm serving, the area of ministry or the business that I'm having? Do I need to regroup and refocus? So those are some things that when we find ourselves in those places of exhaustion, what are those things? We need to find time for fellowship and recreation and exercise. It could be a plethora of things, but the key thing is we have to sit down, write it down, reflect, pray, do what you need to do to get yourself back on track, and then move on from there. So that was really what, yes, Cold Stone. Oh, I love Cold Stone, Christine. Yes. So find that place. Yes, Sherry. Self-care is so important. We have to take a step back. So when we find ourselves with exhaustion, we have to do that. And then the second question that we had in the month of April was, how do we work with or serve with people who are not like us? Those different personality types. We find ourselves like, why can't I get through to this person? Or why do we keep getting butting heads? Or why is this person so defensive when I'm only trying to help them? And in that session, we spoke about different resources that we could use. And one was a book called The People Factor by Van Moody. We talked about the different personality types, a personality assessment. We talked about all those things because a lot of times when we're working with others, we have to also take a step back and almost put ourselves in the good morning, Nakia. How's that baby? How's that sweet baby? How is she? Good morning, Ruth. But yes, we have to also take a step back, even when we're dealing with butting heads with people who are not like us, meaning personalities. We have to identify that, yes, they are different, but they come from different backgrounds. So we have to take a step back and kind of listen to them, watch them empathetically, put ourselves in their shoes to try to understand where they are. But in addition to that, we have to find an opportunity to talk. To talk to that person, to find out what their understanding is, find a space to explain ourselves, so we can really operate and function, effectively with those who are different from us. So we had some great dialogue around that. And then the last conversation that we had was about a really deep conversation was about what do you do when you are being bullied? When you're being bullied in the workplace, how do you handle that, even when the bullier may just be your boss? So I talked about, typically in corporations, there are policies in place, anti-bullying regulations, policies, things like that, that will protect you from bullying. So the key thing is sometimes there is an opportunity to talk to that person head on, but we don't want to go to that person defensively. We want to kind of get into their, ask them, why is this happening? Get in their head a little bit and have that dialogue. But the other thing is always use your human resources facilities if you have them in your corporations and really share on, and they can give you ways of addressing it, or they would help mediate that situation for you. And then there are times when there's not the bullier is your boss. You want to either go to your superior or their superior, or you want to also go to that HR person. However, I do identify that we do work with people one-on-one, and there's not those things that are in place, those policies or whatever that are in place. So what you want to do then is really try to address it with the person. And if that doesn't work, guess what? Sometimes we have to reconcile in our minds. If it's an unbearable, uncomfortable, unhealthy situation, it just might be time for us to leave that unhealthy environment. So it's nothing wrong with that. You're not a quitter if you actually have to leave that organization or that place. No one deserves to be bullied. And if there's nothing in place to protect you, you have to leave. So just think about that. And guess what? Unfortunately, we see it in corporations, we see it in churches, we see it in our communities, we see it in a lot of places, but we have to decide, make a solid decision to just, walk away. And it's okay to just walk away in those situations. All right. So those were the three main topics that we talked about for the month of April. So this topic that I want to talk about today is how do, I thought, Lord, what would I talk about today? I'm really unwinding from my trip. I really haven't had a lot of time to sit and really contemplate necessarily, but I was just tired. I've rested a lot this weekend. I stayed in most of the weekend outside of my worship experience, which I really, really needed. And I want to share with you some of those things that I've learned also through my worship experience today. So we talked about last month, like I said, we talked about, bullying. We talked about exhaustion. We talked about dealing with people who are not like us. So when we look at those topics and we roll that all up in a knot, I asked the question, how do we still thrive as a leader? How do we still sow into the places that we're called to be, despite the bulliers, despite our exhaustion, despite working with differences of opinions? How do we still be productive in the places that we are called to be? So those can potentially be barriers, right, to our success. And a lot of times we can, because we always ask ourselves, if this person wasn't here, this could happen. If I got more money, if I had this, if I had that, if this person wasn't there, this could happen. Well, I want to challenge you today to remove the what if that person never leaves. What if those personalities never change? What if you are called to stay put in that tight and challenging place? How do you still survive? How do you still live? How do you still make an impact and a difference where you are? So I'm glad you asked that question. The question truly is, the answer to that is, you still move. Faith and focus, absolutely. You pray about what's your next steps, and you refocus on what your end goal is. That's right. Only you can change yourself. So we still have to move forward. So the key to it is focus on your purpose. Why am I called to this ministry? Did God tell me that I'm supposed to evangelize? Did God tell me that I'm supposed to preach the gospel? Did God tell me that I'm supposed to be a nurturer, an encourager, regardless? Because sometimes we're called to be that light in those dark places. So how do we be successful? And my answer to you simply is, yes, I love that, Ruth, being purpose-driven. Focus on your purpose. Simply focus on your purpose. Recognize what you are called to be. I realize, let me just tell you, in the workplace, and I'm finding that it's happening all over the place for me. God is just really stretching me in different areas, that I'm kind of that bridge builder. I feel I help to bridge those gaps, whether in the workplace, whether it's communication, whether it's workflows, whether it's bringing differences, opinions together, all those things. So those, sometimes that could be a very dark place to stand in the middle of fire. Like I'm in the middle of, or what they call the line of fire in a lot of cases in ministry, when things are not working together, there's conflict, within ministry. I'm called to do that. And it could be disheartening at times to stand in the gap. I'm like, we're people of God. Why do we have this stuff? We are, in the corporate setting, we're smart, we're intelligent, we have it all together, we have these degrees. Why is there's all this bickering? A lot of times it's just about selfishness. Everyone wants to have their own way. So I'm kind of that bridge to bring those gaps closer together. So I recognize that the place where I am is not an easy place. I'm always in the line of fire. I'm always in the middle of conflict. And I have to say, God called me to make peace in a situation. So how do I do that? And it's always by just looking at the situation and just recognizing what our purpose is. So one thing that my pastor shared yesterday, and this will help me tie in, how do we still be successful in sowing into those dark places that we are called to be. How do we still make an impact regardless of if we get along with people and others? So he talked about, I think it was Mark chapter 15, 16, but it's really about the Great Commission. We are called, right, to share. We're called to share the good news of Jesus Christ. So my challenge is, yes, we're all called in some form. He challenges, we're all called in some form to evangelize, share the good news, share Jesus Christ, right? So whether you're a Christian or not, because Elevate Leadership Enterprises is not, although I'm a Christian counselor, I teach from biblical principles, but I also am open to the world, regardless of what your religion is. So my question is, or my challenge is, what is your gospel? Your gospel is your purpose. It ties back to your purpose. So in that dark place, how do you share? How do you still share your vision, share your goals, share in those worlds that you're called to? My pastor spoke about we are called to worlds. So our worlds could be in our home, to share in our homes the gospel. We are called to share the gospel in our workplace, in the community, wherever that is. But outside of the gospel of Jesus Christ, what is your gospel as a business owner, a ministry leader, a community leader? What is that? So I know Christine, her gospel is making or helping us to live debt free. How does she continue to do that to help us live debt free in these worlds, communities, whatever? Whether it's leadership development, whatever that is, how do you do that? So it's really an open-ended question. I really don't have all the answers outside of just telling you to stick to your purpose, not focus on what others are doing or not doing. Focus on your goal and purpose at hand. So not looking, wishing people away, praying people away. It just might be that you're called to utilize and to help others in that situation, in those dark places, by continuing to stay focused. So I don't have a lot today. I just wanted to just throw those nuggets out there just to share with you all that, you can still sow good seed. You could still encourage. You could still share your vision. You could still be successful. You could be all that God has called you to be in the midst of those dark places, regardless of who the person is, who's in charge, all those different personalities, all those things. You just need to stay focused. So today, on this Monday, May 2nd, I encourage you to just keep moving forward, stay on task, and just really focus. And by the way, Nakia, I did get your questions. I do have some questions that are not leadership related necessarily, but there are some I'm starting to get some spiritual questions on what we do. What do we do about soul ties and all these other things? So I don't know where the Lord has taken me with all of this. So just keep the questions coming. Visit my website at marquissawilliams.com. There's a contact me button there. You can submit any type of questions. And if they are not leadership related, what I'll do is do a different scope within the week to address those questions, because I want to keep our Mondays 8:30 a.m. specific to leadership. I don't want to infuse the two as much as I can. I want to keep the topics separate. For various reasons, because my audience is just not Christian-based audience as far as leadership. But I still, as you've heard, I still share Christian principles and things like that. So I want to absolutely be able to do that. So to address some other spiritual related questions. So thank you for joining this morning. Again, I'm Marquissa Williams, CEO and founder of Elevate Leadership Enterprises. Please share these scopes with your friends, your followers. I do think that they are very critical, very informational, and could help people. Even if you're a leader in your home, you could be a homemaker. These leaders, we are leaders wherever we go. So be encouraged. Again, sign up for my ebook on my website, marquissawilliams.com. My ebook is 5 Things Anyone Leading Anything Should Know. 5 Things Anyone Leading Anything Should Know. You could get a free copy of that, and then you'll be also added to my mailing list for my monthly newsletters. I did not do a newsletter for the month of April because of my travel and my work schedule. However, I have one ready for us. It should be out by the end of the week, so please sign up for the newsletter and my free ebook. Also, I want to just throw a couple plugs before I go. Join my sister Patrice Myrick every morning, and she shares insight and wisdom, keys of wisdom, every morning around 7:15, 7:20 Eastern Standard Time. Join her. I want you to take a look. Sherry, if you're still on, put your website up She just released an awesome book about walking through your pain. It's a novel. I just got my book yesterday. You can get it on Kindle. You can get a hard copy. You can join Sister Ruth Garner. She has a prayer call on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm telling you, our leaders are moving. They are moving, inspiring. They are inspiring the world, ladies and gentlemen. So please, this leadership scope, yes, I'm promoting some things for myself, but I'm also promoting others who are walking in their purpose, walking in their calling. So absolutely, be encouraged as you go through this day. Have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. I will see you later this week to talk about some other topics. Oh, I failed to mention what we'll talk about on next week. And it's really talking about, I don't have the topics solidified, but it's about growing. How do we grow as a leader? How do we continue to grow? So I'll submit the topic, but I think about the chapter in Luke, how Christ, he grew in stature and wisdom, and he had an impact and influence with man. So take that. I'm going to take that concept with leadership as well. So how do we grow in our stature? How do we grow in wisdom? And how do we have an influence and impact on humanity overall? So that'll be our topics for the month of May. So have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for the hearts. Go to my website, marquissawilliams.com. Have a great day.